Okay, guys, so my dad brought home a magazine for me. Well, actually brought home 3, but I'm going to only show you one of them. Why am I showing this magazine, you may ask? It's because it has Michael Weatherly in it and has like a story about NCIS and stuff. So let me just find out where it is. Here it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and read you guys the article. Hang on a minute, let me just check myself in. Okay. Michael Weatherly is the rare breed of actor who can mix comedy and drama effortlessly, and whose ad-libs are often better than what's on the scripted page. Talented, charming, and witty with matinee idol looks, he'd be easy to envy if he weren't so likable. That's what we've found in the 6 years we've worked with him at Watch, from our first trip to Boston to our first big international shoot in Paris. The actor is generous to a fault, self-deprecating, and wickedly funny, with references that can go from highbrow to bawdy in a split second. That was definitely on display during this issue's cover shoot at the Ritz-Carlton, Dove Mountain outside Tuscan Arise. Sorry guys, it's just hard to read because they're small letters. As big as NCIS has become, Weatherly has remained a class act, regaling our crew with stories from the set, working with Mark Harmon, and having Robert Wagner portray his TV dad. He is the consummate performer, which photographer Jeff Lipsky captured during our shoot in the Arizona desert. Also, Watch contributing editor Hudson Morgan, who spent the day with Weatherly on the set of NCIS, turned in a terrific interview with the actor. Also this issue, Deputy Editor Allison Prado interviews Nancy O'Dell, the new host of Entertainment Tonight, who succeeded Mary Hart this fall after her 29 years with the show. Although new to E.T., O'Dell is a Hollywood pro, having covered the industry for years. Her enthusiasm for her new role is downright infectious, which comes through in the photos by renowned fashion lensman Pavel Havlicek. Prado also interviews the husband and wife team behind by CBS The Good Wife, Robert and Michelle King, whose show has become must-see TV for our staff and millions of viewers around the country. The Kings are 2 of the most prolific forces working in TV today, and that brilliance shines through in every episode. You also don't want to miss our destination piece with 90210 actor Matt Latner and Bora. Actually, I'm not going to read the rest of this article because the rest of the article isn't about Michael Weatherly. It was just that little bit. So let me just find. So now I thought I saw another article in here. I just had to find where it is. Hang on guys, just give me a minute to find this article. Here it is. Good humor man. From Perret to DePablo, McCallum to Murray, NCIS has one of the most talented ensembles on primetime, but it also has one of the most entertaining slideshows. Michael Weatherly, who has spent 9 seasons cracking cases as Agent Tony DiNozzo and 9 seasons cracking jokes, usually at his own expense, as the beloved NCIS mascot. Watch spent a day with the 42-year-old actor on set in Valencia, California, hanging out behind the scenes, riding shotgun in his SUV, and generally trying to keep up as Weatherly did what he does best, keeping the place on its toes. And then, these are the questions and answers. Valencia is quite a commute from Hollywood. And then Michael Weatherly said, we've located just west of the sun. If you drive straight towards a radioactive ball of fire in the sky, just before you incinerate, you'll take a left and that's Valencia. And then Watch said, let's talk about the show's success for a moment. 19 million viewers per episode. Then Michael said back, we know we were going to do well last year. Everyone felt there was a wave coming, but to be the #1 scripted drama and for all that to happen in the winter of your TV life. And I've entered my 40s and all those things came together around the time that Robert Wagner, the legendary actor who plays DiNozzo's father, appeared like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I sort of felt like, wow, he's showing me something about how to be. Watch. You also directed your first episode, then Michael says, but I still have no grand plan and no delusions of grandeur. When I was screen testing for Dark Angel, there were a lot of pheromones flying, a musky scent in the room, and it was a long scene, like 5 pages, and it was just me, ex-fiancé, Jessica Alba, I'm sorry. And with James Cameron and the writer. So we do this intense, throbbing scene, and we get to the end, and I'm like inches away from Jessica, and we're looking at each other, and Jim goes, and we cut to a cat food commercial. That was terrible. Let's try it again. And I'm like, really? You didn't feel that? That felt incredible. That's one of the things that happens in acting. If you think it's really good, it's probably really bad. And if you think it's really bad, it's probably okay. And if you think it's okay, it's either great or it sucks. Then Watch said, have you changed Tony or has he changed you? Then Michael said, when the breakdown came out, it was Anthony DiNozzo, a homicide detective from Baltimore whose instincts could only come from the street. Now, if I look like an Italian homicide detective from Baltimore, you've never been to a boarding school in Massachusetts because I kind of look like a guy. Then Watch said, who would get his butt kicked by an Italian homicide detective? Then Michael laughed, and he's like, yeah, I look like I'm maybe Thurston Howell Ivey. So what happened over time is they morphed the character and added some elements that were closer to my real-life experience. Then Watch said, like a more buttoned-up background for starters. What was the best prank you ever pulled at prep school? Then Michael said, my soccer coach was away from the weekend, so we stole his Jaguar, took it apart, and put it together inside the schoolhouse building. Watch said, did you get in trouble? Then Michael said, no, they didn't know we did it. My coach wrote me letters when I graduated that said I would only be successful if I learned to organize the chaos of my life, and he was right on. And let me check the time on the camera. 9 minutes, okay, so we're good still. Let me just check how many more pages. Okay, there's just a couple more pages left. Watch says, speaking of organized chaos, how's married wife treating you? Michael says, I'm 2 years in, my cotton anniversary, and my beautiful wife is in the middle of her 2nd year of her residency. Watch says, is marriage different from the second time around? Michael says, well, the first time was like, when someone says, "Oh, I've been to Sweden," and really they just were in the Stockholm airport, I think my first marriage was like a long delay in a transit lounge. I don't think either of us was fully formed this time around. I'm much more appreciative that my wife allowed me to become her husband, because I would not get involved with me, so she's clearly an angel. Then Watch said, "So how'd you pull it off?" "Smoke and mirrors?" Michael said. "Begging. I did a lot of begging, and she's an empathetic person. I played on that. She's an extraordinary woman, and we have these two wonderful dogs now, Quantum and Oriana. And I've gotten better at picking up my clothes, and I really love home improvement projects." Sorry about that. That was my dad. Anyways, Watch says, "So you're big into DIY?" Then Michael says, "Oh no, more like DIN. Do it now," or DIMI. Do it my way. Get her done. I hired these guys to do the hillside and put stone all around the pool and build a gym on the side, and then a dog run on the other side. So I've enjoyed that, and I think I'm slowly becoming the boring person I've always wanted to be." Then he laughs. And then let me check the time again. I'm actually going to make a part 2, so stay tuned for part 2, which will finish up the article.